Winter can be a quiet time in the garden, as lots of the plants and flowers have now come to the end of the season. But there are still plenty of ways to enjoy your time in the garden during the colder winter months. You've probably started protecting your more tender plants by now. And there's my bananas all tucked up now for the winter months. And I've also got my dahlias inside the greenhouse there. But there's plenty of things that you can do to brighten up a drab winter's day. Why not plant some brightly coloured winter flowers? There's plenty out there to choose from. Maybe pop them into some pots where you can place them near the back door or along pathways that you use regularly, and this way you can see them every day. You can also use some lighting in the garden. Or what about a nice brightly coloured window box, just to brighten up a winter's day. I've been buying some cyclamen for my garden, and I've got a spare pot, and I'm just going to place a few of these plants into the pot and place them near the back door, so that every time I go outside into the garden, I can see the lovely flowers. You can also add colour into the garden by using plants such as this acer that have beautiful coloured branches through the winter. Although there's hardly any leaves left on it now, it does give striking colour into the garden. I think the evergreen plants in the garden are the most important backbone plants that I have. These are lovely Schefflera taiwaniana and Fatsia japonicas, and they all look good no matter what the season, and they come through the winter here in South Wales without any problems whatsoever. They're now in their third year in the garden. They really do look good underneath the palm trees. This is a Photinia red robin, and the rhododendrons are now coming into bud, ready for next spring. I love the colours on the leaves of this, absolutely beautiful. I also love all the different palm trees in my garden, and I really do look after these throughout the summer with some chicken manure pellets, and this will set them up now for another winter, and hopefully they'll all come through the other end without any problems. I grow lots of different palm trees in the garden. These ones are the Trachycarpus, I have the Photinia and the Waggy palms, and a good rule is to have a look to see what's growing in your neighbourhood. If they tend to grow well in other people's gardens, they'll probably do well for you too. One of my favourite plants in the garden has to be a euphorbia. This is a euphorbia John Phillips, and it's grown absolutely huge in the last 2 years. This is a euphorbia silver swan, and this freezes completely through in the winter months but always bounces back better than ever. Lots of the plants are cut back for the winter, but why not leave the seed heads in place just to add a little bit of winter interest? Cut them back in spring when the new foliage starts showing through. Look at the beautiful seed heads on this crocosmia. I will leave these in place now and also leave the dying foliage in place too. Look at the beautiful flowers on this Fatsia japonica. I will leave these now until next year. The dying foliage of the crocosmia will also help wildlife in the garden, and I also make sure that I do put a little bit of food and water out for these throughout the winter months. Winter is the best time of year to buy bare-rooted plants, and what better time of year to grow some fruit trees. It has grown quite a bit since I planted it last year, and this is the cheapest way to buy fruit trees. When you buy them, they come without any pot or without any earth, and you've got to soak them in water before planting. Give them a good half an hour or an hour, and then just plant them in a well dug hole with plenty of compost. The one on this side of the garden is slightly smaller, but it's still doing well. If you're lucky enough to have a greenhouse, make the most of it during the winter months. This is ours. It's a whole 6x6 glass greenhouse, and I use it throughout the winter for doing some potting and also for storing a lot of my overwintering. At the moment, I've got quite a few plants stored in there, such as my cannas and my dahlias are stacked up in pots, and I've also got a few ioniums which are on the shelf, and I'll keep them here now until the weather warms up in the springtime. I also try to come out every now and again throughout the winter and just give it a quick brush and just keep it clean and tidy. I also try to keep the pathways clear in my garden throughout the winter months by coming out here at least once a week, just to clear up the paths throughout my garden, as there always seems to be leaves that have fallen down onto the paths. And by doing it regular, it's less than for me to do in the springtime. I've got my compost now at the ready and my 3 cyclamen plants, and it's time now to pop these into the spare pot. And if there's one thing that really lets me down in the garden, and the one thing that I'm not good at, it is cleaning my tools after use. I've had this trowel here since I started gardening 4 years ago, and it was this trowel that has seen me through all of the changes in the garden, and I will say it has never been washed as much as it should have been, but I think that'll be my next year's resolution, to keep my tools much cleaner than I do, and that includes my spade. I will keep these pots now by the back door, full of nice cyclamens, ready to brighten up a winter's day.